Are you ready? Yep, we're ready. Okay, call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Supervisor Cheryl Reese.
Here.
Councilmember Carol Ann Grimm.
Here.
Councilmember Stephen Heiser.
Here.
Councilmember Douglas Simmons.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas Yeager.
Here.
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Dave from GAVAC, I do not see him here tonight. So for public comment, I know there's a lot of you here tonight that wish to speak, and I guess I'll just call your names as you wrote them down. Our rules of procedures do say 5 minutes per person. Being that there are a lot of people here tonight, I would like to stick to that. So I think, Ed, you're up first.
Well, I'm going to step around here so everybody can see me, because I got a couple tall guys here. If I stand back there, nobody will even see me. I'd like to make a comment about, address the Dominion gas line compression thing. My name is Ed Reese, and my wife is Phyllis. We live in the town of Minden, and we're 2 miles downwind from where this proposed compression thing is going to go. And when I read this statement, I want you to know that I'm included in this, because a lot of places I say we, and I mean all of us. And what I'd like to say is, the day is coming when all of us will close our eyes in death. And at that moment, we will come face to face with God Almighty. And we will have to make an account of all the deeds we done here on earth, whether good or bad at that time. So I would like the members of this town board and representatives, which I don't think there's any here of Dominion tonight, to reflect on this statement before making any hasty decisions. If 10 years down the road we discovered that the air and the water in our area has been polluted by the conclusions of this proposed project, may God have mercy on us all. Thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Beth?
Yes. Elizabeth Marisette, Village of Fort Plain. I just wanted to speak in regard to the Dominion project also, to ask the board to please ask Dominion to upgrade the current compressor. I believe that the existing compressor is a public health hazard, and please, most of us are here to speak in regard to that. Please do not govern against the will of the people. Thank you.
Doreen?
Hi, I'm Doreen Solberg. My husband and I live in the Otspago Grange, right on Route 80, about a mile, not less than a mile from the Dominion compressor as it stands now. And this room is filled with my friends and neighbors, and we're all concerned, as I'm sure the board is concerned, about the health and welfare of the people in the valley. Nobody wants something to happen. The Dominion New Market project, those men are salesmen. They're here to sell us something. But we've been blindsided in the past, as you can see from the beechnut factory in Canajoharie. That still is empty. People have come in and bought it, abused it, took everything out of it that they could, and left town. We just don't want to be sold short again. We would like to have them do due diligence and do the best job that they can. That's all we're asking. We know it's there, we know they're going to expand it, but do the best job to make the less impact on the environment that we can. Thank you.
Dick?
Thank you, Dick Solberg. I live in the same house. We are worried about that, and we hope that Dominion will do the best they can with the best equipment. They could make that a showcase compressor station if they want to. And I think we should also, if this does move forward, we should have something in writing which says we'll pay for anything that goes wrong in the future. I don't know if we can get that from them, but we could try. And I know you're in this with us too. Thank you.
Bill?
Thank you. This is Phil Scalia from Fort Plain. And I wanted to say that this Dominion compressor expansion, the New Market project, this is one big project. And Dominion and FERC, they can do this little dance about how this is a minor project because it comes in, it's 97,000 tons a year instead of 100,000, which is the cutoff. We're going from 1 stack to 4 stacks, running 24/7 instead of 1 stack, spitting out the stuff every Monday or so. We're dealing with the federal government that we know this is a joke. They are not going to help us. This is FERC. They're composed of industry insiders. Dominion knows how to play this game. In this game, you don't have to use the word Otsquago. You won't find the word Otsquago in the whole entire application, 2,000 pages. They are 50 feet from the Otsquago Creek, and that word is not mentioned. How can you possibly think that is not a joke? Anybody living here knows that's a joke. And I'll tell you another joke. The air currents. They use air currents from Rome, New York. They use air currents from Albany. Anybody who lives here knows that fog sits in the valley. The fog comes down, it sits on Fort Plain. That's the way it is here. It's like that every day. These false promises, they are kings of schmoozing. Beware of those bearing gifts. I am happy for the Mohawk Valley Collective to have received Dominion's check for $10,000. They're putting it to good use. I'm really glad to see a concert hall coming in here. We can have a renaissance. We are having a renaissance. Why would you ruin it putting in a compressor station puffing out carcinogenics on a daily basis? The people living right around there, they're in deep, deep trouble. They are, to use the words of the New York Medical Society, especially damaging to the development of embryos, fetuses, and children, as well as reproduction and survival of livestock, poultry, and wild animals. This is a resolution from the Medical Society of the State of New York that they have sent to the AMA and will be adopted because every medical society, virtually every medical organization has come out against this. And for our town official to say at a public meeting, the planning board meeting, to state after I asked my question, why wouldn't any company want to look after the public health? We are giving them the privilege of having their business in this town. That's a privilege. That's not something that you, in addition, try to get a tax rebate for and then waltz them to the tax hearing. We don't want to see that from our public officials. Chaperoning Dominion around, making reservations for them at a restaurant. They are not clients. They are not your client. This is a privilege for them to be doing business here. They have to follow the rules. You, as our public officials, have the information which we are giving you. Know that there are these other arguments that the medical society, the scientists are making, and you have an obligation, a commitment, a legal commitment to follow up on this information that we are giving you. Because these are in the documents now, these are official records. Wherever they have worked, the public health has suffered. There are no regulations in Pennsylvania. They turned that state into a pincushion. Those people are guinea pigs. New York doesn't do that. I like to think we're a little better than Pennsylvania. I used to live there. I'm telling you, there's like no zoning there. Everybody can throw anything anywhere. That's the way it works. And you know something? These places, in case you didn't notice, they're always put in poor areas. That's what they do. These are the kings of schmoozing. So that's why I'm saying, beware of those bearing gifts. When this industry is here for 15 years, and we never hear a peep from them, and then all of a sudden, a $10,000 gift. Well, let's just remember where that's coming from and how big a stake they have in this community and what's behind that gift. Is that sincere? I think not. They're trying to grease the skids for themselves. They have an application pending. They've been here 15 years and all of a sudden they're making a gift. Please.
Your 5 minutes is up, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I thank you for listening to me.
Keith Shu.
Yes, thank you, and I'm glad to be here and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. You know, I think some of the reasons that folks are concerned tonight is because we have learned that there has been a presentation to the planning board which took place, I guess, a week ago. And, you know, some of us have had the opportunity to watch a video that a person who was there took of that. So we kind of know what was said, and we know what questions were asked, we know what kind of responses were given. I think the planning board asked some good questions. I don't think they got some very good answers, though. And I think it's important for this board and for the planning board to be aware of the specific facts and the circumstances and the things that make this place unique and it makes the issues associated with this compressor station unique. So anyway, I remember I spoke with you all before in the past, but one of the things I did not give you, which I would like to give you tonight, is just a picture. There are actually two pictures stapled together here. One is, I'll make sure I have one for everybody if I can. I do for everybody, I think. But basically what you're looking at here is a picture of the town of Minden. It's a topographic map. The colorations indicate the low points and the high points. This compressor station is located about where you see the word C in Kasler on Kasler Road. That puts it at the very bottom of the creek basin, the Oswego Creek Basin. And that's a concern. That's a particular concern because it means that emissions that are coming out of the smokestacks, which will be not just one smokestack running occasionally, but four smokestacks running all the time, or could be running all the time. This is a great concern that those emissions aren't going to make their way out of the valley. And so what it could mean is that the folks living nearby and those folks living downwind in Fort Plain, because that's the direction of the prevailing winds, could be subjected to higher concentrations than normal. So if you look at the second page, you'll actually see a cross-sectional picture of that, and it's very clear that you've got the greater Mohawk Valley, which slopes down to the canal, but then you've also got the Oswego Creek, and that's the catch basin that we're worried about. So I urge you to think about that. One of the things that Dominion has said is that, and one of the concerns we have had is when they're looking at their meteorological data, that they're looking at information from Rome, New York, and Albany, which is 50 miles. These are places that are 50 miles away from here. And they've said, when questioned about that, I think the planning board did ask them, question, well, is that legitimate? Isn't that data kind of far away? How does that compare to this? Their answer was, well, that's standard practice. That's the way you usually do it. Well, this is not a standard situation. I would implore you to recognize that the conditions of the Oswego Creek make for unique circumstances here. Other questions that were asked was whether or not electric compressors could be used as a way of bringing the emissions down. The answer that was received was, well, no, because we have to have the gas ready at all times. We can't let hospitals go out of service and things like that. This gas, the majority of the gas that's part of this project, the 82, the majority of the gas that's about 82,000 decatherms of gas that's part of this project would be moving from the Dominion line onto the Iroquois line. That Iroquois line is fed by other facilities as well. The AIM pipeline, the Constitution pipeline. These are all other feeders to this. If there's a momentary loss of gas on the Iroquois line, literally, it makes no difference. When compressors stop compressing, the gas doesn't stop flowing, it slows down a little bit. So this is a non-issue. And I would also ask you to recognize that other companies, Dominion included, when they're proposing to have compressors in different locations, they use electric compressors at times. In urban areas, sometimes they're required to use electric compressors. So that's a non-issue. Electric compressors are a viable option here. And when you're talking about 4 compressors, even if you bring one, even if you switch one of them to an electric, that could make a significant difference. You know, and that kind of gets to the point that I really want to emphasize here is that, I mean, my personal opinion is that, you know, this wouldn't go forward. I think we have other ways of generating electricity that are better, but and using energy. But the fact of the matter is, if this is built, I think we all have a moral and ethical obligation to ensure that it is a design that will minimize the impacts. And there are very practical things that can be done to do that. What I would like to give you to is this. This is a map, this is a figure you haven't seen, but I think it's very useful because it gives you a breakdown of what the emissions that would be coming from this facility are according to Dominion. And I know you saw.
Ramp up a little bit too, Keith. We're about 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll make this quick.
Okay.
But essentially, you've seen the figures that show how this compressor station would be far more polluting than the other ones. This here is a picture, is a table that shows you where those emissions are coming from this proposed site. And when you look at it, you see there's several things that can be done. The reciprocating compressors are a big part of it. Also, the existing compressor that's there right now is a significant portion that adds up to the total. If they would just add an oxidation catalyst, that's like a catalytic converter on your car. If they would add that to the existing compressor, their total emissions would come down substantially. Okay, it wouldn't quite cancel out, but it would come close to making up for some of the impacts from the reciprocating compressors. So that's a practical alternative. An oxidation catalyst is what Dominion puts on all of their other smokestacks. Even for this one, the other three they're doing it. They don't, but right now they're not proposing to retrofit the existing one. They should. That's an easy thing to do. It's what they're doing on the new compressors that they're building in Madison County and in Horseheads. They should do it here as well. Vapor recovery. That's a way of capturing emissions, fugitive emissions that are lost out the side. Not the smokestack emissions, but instead the emissions that are lost from leakage. There are ways, cost-effective ways that will actually save the company money so that they're not wasting fuel that goes up into the air. They're actually recycling it back in. That would bring fugitive emissions down quite a bit. There are real solutions here, and I'm an engineer myself. I'd like to see a solution happen that is more protective than what's proposed right now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Annie Norman?
And
Ann, I'm sorry.
it's okay. I'm a resident, my husband and I are residents of Canajoharie, and we really appreciate being able to come to your meeting because we feel that the decisions that you as a board make are going to affect our community as well. And Dominion doesn't come to our community because the facility is being built here in Minden. So we really are depending on you to make sure that these decisions protect all of us. And Keith is and Phil and the rest of us have done our homework, so we hope that you will do yours too and protect us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Susie?
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. And thank you to Phil Scalia for being here for the planning board meeting and filming it so that we had the opportunity to read the transcripts from that meeting. I'm concerned by the answer that I heard more than a few times from Dominion, which is that we must and we will comply with all state and federal laws. I'm glad that they will. But I'm here to say that I don't think that that should necessarily make the community feel comfortable. Far from it. I'm just going to go back and reference something that we introduced to you back in December, which was a report called Warning Signs. I know I gave it to you at that time, and if you don't still have it, you can reference it on the web, and I'd be happy to give you that link. But for the time being, I want you to know that Warning Signs is a study that documents the results of a community air monitoring program that was done through Dr. David Carpenter. And it's a study in which citizens in the communities across the country, particularly for compressor stations in Arkansas and Pennsylvania, and actually one in New York, but particularly Arkansas and Pennsylvania, citizens living adjacent to compressor stations monitored the air that they were living with, and those results are present in that study, in that report of Warning Signs. And when you go back and look at the document, and I really do hope that you will, I hope that you check out, in particular, page 17, which is this very simple chart that I'm showing you now. And what it represents is compressor stations in Arkansas and Pennsylvania and one in Wyoming. These are the compressors in the study in which citizens were living adjacent to compressor stations in particular. And this chart exemplifies the fact that just because a compressor complies with state and federal laws does not make it safe for our communities. The two lines that run parallel on the bottom of the page represent the statistics that our government feels that we should be safe from carcinogens and other risks. Those are the two lines at the very bottom of the page. But all of the spikes that are extending above those two lines at the bottom of the page are those individual compressors in those communities. And in fact, those are the emissions that the citizens are living with, not the emissions which the applicants applied with. The numbers that the applicants applied with, just like the application that we're seeing today, that 2,000-page application for the New Market project, those numbers in those applications would have to fall below this red line. They're saying that those are the numbers that the citizens will live with. But in fact, these spikes show that that's not what the citizens are living with, and nothing is being done about it. So that please don't think that your community is safe when Dominion comes here and talks to your planning board and says we must and we will comply with all state and federal laws. The results just don't hold up. So in that, I'd just like you to realize that the compressor here that's proposed is for 18,000 horsepower. The compressor that's running in Minisink, which is in Orange County, New York, is a 12,000 horsepower compressor. And in fact, those citizens in the first 2 years that compressor's been running, a little bit over 2, it's been running 2 years in February, those citizens are already in a 2-mile radius living and experiencing side effects. Children are waking up with nosebleeds, folks are feeling dizzy, they're getting nauseous, they're having headaches. These are the immediate signs, but we have no way of knowing what will come sometime down the future in another 5 years, in another 10 years. What are those VOCs, those volatile organic compounds, going to bring? We just don't know. So please, just because Dominion says they'll comply doesn't mean we're safe. And I'm urging you to take seriously all of the concerns of everybody here and do your damnedest to make Dominion go above and beyond. I know you can't stop the compressor, it already is there, but please don't just sit by when he comes in here and says that he's doing the best he can and take it for granted that that's the truth. Thanks. Oh.
Hi, I'm Maura Stockwell. I live on Fords Bush Road in the town of Minden. Thank you for having us able to share our thoughts tonight. I have a couple of comments. One, Dominion has misled, I think, the board and places they have sent their application in the past. They have stated there's no creeks in the premise, which is false. We live on the Oswego Creek. At the November meeting, they said they're not interested in exporting any kind of gas, but since they are, Iroquois has now put their proposal public for the North-South project, and Dominion is part of that. They do have an interest in this, so that is another falsehood that they have put out to us as a community, which I think they can now publicly see, and we can see that that is not true. Keith spoke about fugitive emissions. They are not included in any of Dominion's applications as part of the emissions that we all will be breathing. The fugitives emissions are going to be released from the compressors before they are put through any kind of combustion. So they are basically the Marcellus gas coming right from Pennsylvania right into our atmosphere and our air before they go through any scrubbings or anyways else will be treated. These fugitives' emissions from the compressors will continue to increase over time because the seals on all these compressor systems, as soon as you start using them, begin to deteriorate. And as we'll be using these compressors potentially 24/7, 365 days a year, there is a great potential for that fugitive emissions and the Marcellus gas to just steadily increase for our air. And as Keith was saying, there are many other things that the Dominion can do. There are many other ways that they can recapture this gas that is helpful on their money side, so that they can then not lose this to the atmosphere. And I ask all of you to continue, doing the actions that are necessary for the Minden Township residents that you are here to protect for our health, our land, our water, and our children. Thank you very much.
Paul?
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Paul Mendelson. I'm just outside of Sprout Brook. My wife, Elsa Funk, as well. There's not a lot I can add, except to say that it is a matter of public record at this point that the board has received a lot of detail about this issue and a lot of information about alternatives. We began the meeting by reaffirming our guiding principles, which would be liberty and justice for all. And I ask you, if you rubber stamp a compressor, which we know from smaller compressors elsewhere are going to diminish the health of the people here, make people sick. When people want to leave because they feel threatened, they will be unable to sell their homes. We know the fire department in a little town like this is really not going to be prepared for the kinds of disasters that we do see in the news regularly. Some stockholders will be happy. Some CEOs will get another $1 million bonus, and a little money is used to grease the skids here. But I ask you if that's really liberty and justice for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I know there was a couple people that came in that didn't say, would you like to speak?
No.
Okay. And ladies?
Just for 1 second.
Oh, that's fine.
My name is Mary Ann Nellis. I taught with Doug at Fort Plain Central School for many, many years. And do you remember, Doug, when that Mohawk Valley Organics came in? And we would open our windows and go, oh, what is that hideous smell? What's really frightening about this, we were able to identify where the smell was coming from, and someone took care of Mohawk Valley Organics, I'm not sure who. But this one, the toxic chemicals that are going to be coming down our valley, right to both of our schools, aren't going to have an odor. So when the kids are out there on the playground, the little guys and the big kids are playing their sports and breathing deeply because their heartbeat is up, they are going to be really innocent victims. No one's going to know that they're being poisoned. So I'm just asking you also to please consider, make them do it right. Make them do the job right. Since supposedly it's a done deal and they own the land, blah, blah, blah. Make them do it right, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I believe that everyone has spoke. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm Joe Clayson. I'm not a resident of the town of Minden. I live just over the border in Herkimer County. I have multiple chemical sensitivity. Exposure to many, many different chemicals affect my health, particularly my brain function, and they cause seizures. Because of that, my driver's license was taken and I work with a service dog. I'm concerned about the air that I breathe. I moved to this area because it had good air quality, and I'm concerned about the changes. People who have multiple chemical sensitivity are often referred to as the canary in the coal mine because we are affected quicker and more so than the rest of you are going to be affected by these same chemicals. It may not show up the first day, like, or even the first 10 minutes, like it might with me, but it will still have effect on your health. I'm concerned with the air quality and the contaminants in the air that fall on the food that is grown in this area, which all of us then are going to be eating. I am concerned also about the whole environment, in our area, and I'm also concerned about the contribution that this makes overall to climate change on a worldwide basis, because the earth does not recognize our political boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who spoke tonight. I guess I would just like to just say that our planning board, Jim Welch is our chairman, and this board as well, we are not taking your comments lightly. He's working very diligently on the process and keeping us informed, and at this point, there's not anything new that we can to let you guys know that's happening. I believe that Dominion is coming next month.
I don't know yet.
We don't know. So, we will keep you informed as best as we can.
Jim, just for the public, what is the date of your meeting?
Second Monday of the month.
Okay.
Are the meetings for the
They're open
town
to
on
the public.
Wednesdays now instead of Tuesdays?
No, tonight it was Wednesday because my son is graduating from college and I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll
Okay,
be out of
but
town.
next month is also
Next
Wednesday.
month it will be on Thursday.
It says Wednesday.
That's a misprint.
That's a misprint. I'm sorry.
I'm confused now.
Is
It
it-
says
is-
second
is-
Monday, someone said. Now you say.
No, that's planning.
That's
That's
planning
planning
board.
board.
Okay.
The next board meeting is Thursday, the 18th. It's just a misprint of Wednesday.
Cheryl, is there a way for any of us or all of us to know when Dominion is coming to meetings? I mean, nobody had any idea that Dominion was going to be visiting with the planning board.
Planning board agenda, is that advertised or just the meeting is advertised?
There's nothing on the website that has any kind of agendas for either this meeting or for the planning board meetings.
I don't know.
We've never done that in the past, Maura, but I guess considering the situation at hand, we could, going
That would be
forward,
great.
put the agendas on.
That would be wonderful.
We'll work on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you said Dominion was coming to the next meeting, did you mean the
Planning
planning
board
board?
meeting, but we don't know that. We don't know that
Okay.
yet. So once Jim has an agenda available, we'll make sure that it's on the website.
Can we do, would you guys like to have an information session? I know, Keith, you did the PowerPoint for the planning board. Would you guys also like to see that? It's quite impressive. I mean, I've learned a lot from watching this. The science behind it and, accumulated.
If you'd like to come to next
Wow.
month's meeting, you're more than welcome.
Get on the agenda ahead and we could do something like that if we thought,
If you'd like, I'd be happy to.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jim?
Yeah, my report, I just had a couple things to add. To begin with, Dominion, we still do not have a complete application there, as we do not have the seeker. They have not completed that yet, and their FERC EA assessment form. And we're waiting for the DEC air permit too on that, see how that comes back at it. Secondly, for the record, I want to state that as long as I've been on the planning board, at no time has the planning board ever withheld information from the town board. Since I've been chairman, you have received a monthly report, detailed monthly report, so it shouldn't take away any questions at all. Not to it. And that's it.
Jim, I have a question.
Mhm.
When we had the motocross track go in, the issue at that point was noise.
Correct.
And we made it part of his application. He had to get someone to do the noise, and he had to give us a completed report of what the decibels would be and how it would be affected. Do we have the ability to do that with Dominion? What bothers me is what they said, and it's been said several times. They're giving us air quality in Albany, and they're giving us air quality
Rome.
Rome. can we make it part of our planning board application, the way we did with the motocross track, that they give us an air quality report for our area?
We can try.
Can we do that?
We can try.
Do you need the board to do something to make it possible for you to do that?
I would like to run that with John.
Okay.
Onto it, check into it.
Okay, but we're
Into it.
here
Yes.
to do that,
Would
or
be-
whatever we need to do
Right.
to get that. I think that's very important.
With the noise issue with Dominion, they have already given their prospects.
Oh, I'm not worried about the
Level.
noise.
No, but
I was just
I want to
using
get
it as
onto
an
that a little bit.
example.
Dominion has given at their property line what they suspect their noise level is going to be.
Mhm.
FERC has come back and stated it is at the nearest resident, that level.
And the nearest resident is how far away? Yeah, that's what I thought.
No.
But let's go with air quality. If we can't get
Right.
them with noise, let's try and get them. I mean, I'm very concerned as to what the air quality is in this valley. I don't care about Rome and Albany. I don't live there. I
Jim.
live here.
Didn't Dominion state that that's where the 2 reporting stations were?
Yeah.
Well, then they have to do something the same way we made the motocross track, bring in equipment and people to evaluate. I guess they're gonna have to pay to have that done.
Yes, I agree. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, I was here at your planning board meeting, and I was very impressed the way you ran your meeting. And you did ask a lot of tough questions. I'd like, as a member of the board, I'd like to thank you for what you've done at that meeting. And you made them squirm a little. They
But
did
you
it.
But you did see the Iron Curtain go up though.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, we're going to move on to communications. I gave you guys a few different things. The 4th and the 3rd celebration is coming up. There's a letter in there in regard to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We also received a letter from the police department thanking us for the purchase that we did. And the other communication I guess I just wanted to point out is that we did get the checks for the mortgage tax and for the sales tax. And interestingly enough, the sales tax is down in every township in the county overall. The mortgage tax is up. That's kind of interesting, I thought. So, anyway, that's all I have for communications. So, if I can get a motion to adopt the minutes, please. Tom?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Audit. Motion to accept the bills.
So moved.
Carol?
Second.
Steve? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Okay, reports. Financial reports. Like I said, we did receive the mortgage tax check, which was $9,281.45. I guess last month is when we got the sales tax. Yeah. The town clerk for dogs was $311.50. Planning, $586.40. Miscellaneous fees, $112.16. Town of, for penalty and interest on the taxes, right, the closeout, was $8,178. And Justice Elford has been quite busy once again to the tune of $18,689.50. That's all I have for financial. Scott,
Whatever Scott got.
you good with your
Yeah.
report? Jim's, we do not have. You have Barry's. We don't have anybody here tonight. Well, we have a few, yeah. Jim. You're next.
No, Janet is.
Oh, Janet.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, just what's on my report, we're starting to get a little bit busier with dog licenses. and the conservation licenses. Now that it's fishing season.
And you've been talking to the ones that coming in for the renewals about the new dog law that was
Yeah,
implemented?
I've been getting that word out. We discussed and I sent some notices out to some of those ahead of time for the purebred that, to get that word out that there wouldn't be renewed. So.
Very good. ZBA, we have the report. We have Judge Elford's report. Mr. Harris is not here tonight. We have our town historian who gave us a little story tonight.
Aside from my general report, which I have, which lists my ongoing projects, I did present in front of you a little historical tidbit concerning the band from 1897 to 1903 from Fry's Bush. Just a little factoid, something in the hamlet that nobody really would know about unless it was brought out in the open. Just states some local people just started a band and had some fun with it, and it's just a little enjoyable tidbit. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any old business that the board wishes to speak on? Steve? Okay, resolutions. Resolution 31 is a resolution to accept and amend the 2015 operating budget with CHIPS revenue and EWR, which is emergency weather winter repair funds, and carryover balance, and appropriating those CHIPS funds within the highway operating budget. Can I have a sponsor?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Resolution passes. Resolution 32 is a resolution authorizing and directing the town clerk to advertise for bids for low sulfur diesel and kerosene.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Resolution 33 is a resolution for response and corrective action plan for recommendations of audit 201 or 2014 M-366.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Just for the public to know, there are copies of the audit available for anyone who wishes to take one. The response will be, our corrective action plan will be part of that, and then a final will be submitted back and we will have that on the website. Can I get a sponsor?
Yep.
So Carolyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Resolution passes. Okay, so just for the record, next month's meeting, that was a typo on my part, is Thursday, June 18th at 7 p.m. I think do we have to have a public hearing for the bids?
No, that'll be
The
2
bids are
o'clock. We'll open them at John's
early,
office.
and then we'll
he'll
do the
put 'em on
resolution
a
that night.
Spreadsheet.
If there isn't anything else, I look for a motion to
Motion.
adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Meeting adjourned.
Got that down pat.
How are you?
Good.